Welcome to the All Comfort Services Home Comfort Zone podcast. I'm your host, Teresa. I'm the marketing manager at All Comfort Services. Our podcast explores everything you need to know about your home's heating, cooling, indoor air quality, plumbing, and electrical systems. We share expert insights, practical tips, and engaging conversations with customers and businesses to provide solutions, ideas, and advice. Let's get started. Today, I have Nick Moran. He's the comfort consultant here at All Comfort Services. Welcome, Nick.
That is me. Pleasure to have you.
Awesome. So, Nick, today we want to talk about the Inflation Reduction Act, Focus on Energy HERE program that was announced in December 19th here in Wisconsin. Can you tell me a little bit about this program?
Yeah, so what the HERE program is, it actually stands for Home Electrification and Appliance Rebate. It was part of that IRA rollout that came with the Biden and the Harris administration. And what it's going to do is it's going to allow people for low to moderate income to be able to get instant savings on getting more energy efficient appliances in their house. So whether those appliances are heat pumps, heat pump water heaters, electric boards, electrical wiring, and that'll be the first phase. Then there's another second phase rolling out that hasn't happened yet. But that's going to allow people to kind of get more energy efficient stuff into the home and take advantage of that homes.
And the second phase is going to be appliances like electric ranges.
And other appliances, I believe, for
dryers,
the kitchen too.
right.
Yeah, stuff like that,
So
smaller appliances.
Those are also, that information's available on the Focus on Energy website, and more information will be coming available as it rolls out. So you mentioned the HERE program, initials, what they stand for, and that's all about electrification. So that's what we're doing right now, is offering this for customers because we're a provider, we're a contractor that's registered on the Focus on Energy website as an HVAC company, an electric company, and plumbing company. So what's a typical scenario of somebody who might want this?
Yeah, so the first thing they can do is go to the Focus on Energy website. They can apply there, and I know what you're thinking. You probably think that I don't qualify. How the qualifications actually work, so we can kind of start with that. If you make under 80% of the AMI, which is the area median income, you can get up to 100% of your cost covered, up to $14,000 total. Now, if you're in that 80 to 150 range, you can get up to 50% of your cost covered, all the way up to $14,000 as well. So how that works, to get back to your question, is you would go to the Focus on Energy website, and then what you would do is you would apply. They will send you an email, I believe, within 2 or 3 days. Once you get that email, if you're approved for the 100 or the 50, you can send that coupon code, we'll call it a coupon code, to us, a contractor, or any other general contractor. And then once we do that, we would set up a schedule to come over. And what I would do as a comfort consultant is kind of come in, take some pictures of the home. We have a thorough list that we have to go through. And then if you're going through the electric part of like the breaker board, the electric wiring, we would have another, maybe Corey or someone else come out and kind of do that.
And so let's just say what would, so right now, for example, at my home, I don't need an air conditioner or gas furnace. So this is typically for people who aren't an emergency situation, but may need something like, for example, their air conditioner is 15 years old, 20 years old, 30 years old, and they need to get it replaced. It's for those folks that want to replace that with a heat pump because it can cool and heat. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so like you said too, it's not for people in an emergency situation. Maybe it's someone who's been kind of waiting for a program to roll out like this, take advantage of those rebates. But yeah, so if you do have an AC and you're looking into a heat pump and you don't know what a heat pump is, for example, like you said, it can heat and cool the home. So it is more energy efficient, as in, here, we can use this for a example. We'll use kilowatts. So if you put in 1 kilowatt to a furnace, you get out 0.8, because you lose 2 because it's combustion out of the flue. If you put in 1 kilowatt to, say, a baseboard heater, that'd be a 1 to 100% conversion. Now, if you put 1 kilowatt into a heat pump, you're going to get out 4 kilowatts because it's an air source heat pump. It's going to grab 3 kilowatts from the atmosphere and put it in your home.
Homeowners can get a heat pump, and they could get, if they just need the air conditioner replaced. What if their gas furnace needs to be replaced at the same time?
We would highly recommend that too. It would be part of the total project's cost, so it can go towards that 150 or up to the 14,000. And in our climate, you still need a backup source of heat. So I know some people want to go to 100% electrical. That can be costly if you went that route. So right now, especially with the furnaces that we have that are 99% efficient, that is something that we line up with the heat pump. So when it gets to that temperature where it can no longer handle or pull that heat out of the air, you can switch over to your backup source of heat. In this case would be the furnace.
And so if someone is working on that project, having their heat pump replaced, they might need new wiring to manage the equipment to manage that in the home. That's something that's also included in the HERE program, right?
Absolutely. It is 100% included in that. And we also tell people too, like if you're at a 100 amp service or if you have maybe like a Wadsworth panel or a Federal Pacific panel, now would be the time to take advantage of that, especially with that $4,000 rebate. So even if you do have the 100 amp and say it's a square D, that's still a good opportunity. Now, with that, going to like a bigger heat pump or something and say it needs a better electric wiring to there, maybe the gauge of it's not proper, you could take advantage of these rebates to that too. So it's kind of, you're getting a lot bundled into one, but the main thing is too, once this money's gone, it's gone. So it's going to be for those kind of first come, first serve, and it's not a quick turnaround process. It takes time. There's a lot of documentation on the back end that we have to go through. We ask people to be very patient with us as we go through all these things, because Focus on Energy also is kind of working with us, and we're all kind of figuring out our way, more or less.
That sounds great. So we've talked about heat pumps, wiring, and then what about the water heaters?
Yeah, so the water heaters is also a heat pump thing too as well. I wouldn't be the guy to quote it out. I might be able to take some pictures from, but it most would be Pat or one of our other plumbers that would go over and do that. But same thing applies there as well. You know, heat pumps are heat pumps, whether it's a one for your home for cooling and heating or if it's one for your hot water tank as well. But I mean, not taking advantage of the rebate for both would be kind of, you know.
Right, especially if you
silly.
need to replace it. Exactly.
Yes.
And so, you know, as a registered contractor, we actually can do all of it. We can do the electric, the plumbing, and the heating with this program and help someone all the way through the process.
That is correct, yes.
Is there anything else that we want to share with people so they understand this more, or just anything more to add?
I mean, I would say as long as you have the patience and understand this isn't like an overnight thing and sometimes you might have to go back and get different pictures or whatever it may be, then it'd be a no-brainer to at least apply to see if you're going to be able to qualify for that 50 or 100%. To not take advantage of the money that's given out. So if you're even at that stage of maybe 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, and you're not really sure when to replace it, I always tell people to this when I go to their home, when they say, you know what, Nick, it still runs fine. The difference is if you let the machine decide when it needs to be replaced, say for example, it's -20 out and your furnace goes and you need a new one. You and 20 other people are also in that same boat. So if you get ahead of it and you can leverage these rebates, now you have nothing to worry about. So yes, does it work? Of course. Doesn't mean that the parts in it though aren't 30 years old and they're tired or maybe they're not running as efficiently as they could be. And you could start nickel and diming you along the way. So if you even have a thought or you know that your machine is old, I would highly recommend to at least try to apply. And if you do that, I would take advantage of it because we don't know if there's going to be another program around anytime soon like this.
Right. And you can stack all the discounts. So these HERE program dollars are instant rebates. And if there is a manufacturer program going on, you can actually stack that amount too to take off. Federal tax credits can also be taken off if you haven't already claimed those on your taxes. And then any additional Focus on Energy rebates can be, you'll save from those too.
Right, exactly. And they actually encourage the stacking. So like for a heat pump, for example, you can get $8,000 instant savings. Now, when I'm saying instant savings, we're not talking about this money's coming back to you in the mail. Like this is coming right off the top and then you pay us after that. So you start stacking these, for example, you get $8,000 for that, $4,000 for an electric board. I think it's what, like 12 or 2 or something for the electrical wiring. Heat pumps also a big one too. I know there's more information on our site about that. But you can stack those on top of each other. And then as a Lennox, we have our own rebate program. Now those are not instant savings. Those will come back to you within 4 to 6 weeks, but still a great thing to have. And then last but not least is definitely the tax credit. We usually don't include it in like the bottom line because everyone's tax situation is different and we don't want to be, you know, assuming things, but you can get up to $2,600 in a tax credit as well. So to not take advantage of all those with the rebates, with the tax credits and everything going on, I mean, I feel like it'd be a little detrimental to anybody who at least didn't apply.
Exactly. And, not sure when this is going to be airing. This particular video is going to be airing. The Lennox rebates may or may not be running, but if they are, take advantage of it. And I think we've covered most of the details of this. Can you think of anything else that we'd like to make sure people know?
I think we covered it, but I do know a lot of people, they say they don't have the time to do it. I understand that. Everyone has a lot going on in their life. It's very busy. There's a lot of things that we're doing. But I mean, the process takes like maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes at tops that. I mean, 5 to 10 minutes and your ROI on that, you're looking to almost over $10,000 in instant savings where you don't even have to foot a bill. And when we're talking about a furnace and a heat pump or an AC or electric board, we're talking about like your foundational pieces to a home. This is the air that we breathe. This is how we sleep. This is how we feel. There's a ripple effect to all this. So I do think that there is importance to be doing your due diligence on taking advantage of this stuff. So in the hindsight of it too is if you didn't do it and then you come back to us next year, just like everything else in the world, everything just keeps getting more expensive. So if you say, okay, yeah, I'm going to put it off till next year, there's going to be a price increase. And it's not just, this is the world. This is the world we live in now. This is the new normal, we'll call it. So even if you're on that fence, that's something that I would highly recommend doing just because, again, take advantage of it. It's there. It's not going to be there forever. It's going to be gone eventually. You do not want to be the person looking back and saying, oh, I wish I had an opportunity to save $10,000 on this.
Right.
So that's kind of where I'm at on it. I think we hit home on all the main pieces that we really wanted to focus on. And it's really just going to be on the customer. You know what I mean? It's something that if it does mean that much to you, or if savings means, I know savings means a lot to people. If the savings does mean something to you, you want to save money, I guess the question is, why wouldn't you?
Right.
At that point.
Exactly. So they can go to our website, allcomfortservices.com, and there's a link there to go to the Focus on Energy website to find out if you qualify. So just take that first step.
That is correct.
So thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Teresa.